What's going on, guys? Matt in the Hat, Keller Williams Diamond Partners. You are tuned in to the Hot List. This is episode number 267. Thank you guys so much for joining, hanging out. And in the Hot List, we discuss properties that my brokerage or that I have listed that come up for sale. I answer a question of the week that is submitted by you, the listener. And as a reminder, I now have a form to submit your real estate questions in the details section. And I greatly appreciate your questions. Please keep them coming in because it not only gives me a chance to answer the question for you, gives you a place to start, and I can use this as future episodes. So hopefully with the questions that you submit and that you ask, I can get those answered for you. That gives you a place to start, kind of springboard from there. But also, this gives me content for future episodes just like this one. Because if you have that question about real estate, the chance that somebody else has that same question or similar question is great. So what better way to start than shoot your question to me? What better way to get it answered by me, your real estate resource? So before we get into the question of the week, I want to do a little bit of kind of a backstory here. So the question of the week is an all electric home better? So in order to answer that, there's going to be a little bit of dependence and variation. So it's going to obviously depend on where you live, what energy resources are available to you that you have access to. If you have a utility budget, and the size of your home. I also need to add a disclaimer in here, just like I do each time we get into something like this. This list is not an end all be all list. This is going to be highlights or some of the top reasons, most popular reasons why an all electric home can be appealing. Now, the number of choices available to heat and cool your homes, there are a number of different ones. The most popular way to cool your home is electric. Many may opt for a different method for heat. For example, there is gas heat, wood burning heat, stoves, fireplaces, and with some of the new construction homes recently, there is beginning to gain some ground and popularity with like a radiant or ambient heat that is either done through water or steam. That's either in like concrete floors or some type of flooring. So they have, when they pour before they pour a concrete pad, there will be water lines run back and forth, just kind of S-curving the length of the house to make some radiant heat or some ambient heat. So in order to answer the question of the week, is an all electric home better? We're going to talk about the top 6 reasons to consider an all electric home. Now, number 1, all electric homes are safer. Having electrical appliances does eliminate the risk of gas leaks, which I'm sure I don't have to tell you could end badly. Worst case scenario, there's an explosion. So there is that. This is rare, but could happen, especially if you are somebody that is unfamiliar with gas appliances or um, gas leaks, because gas leaks could go undetected for long periods of time. It is rare, but there have been cases where the homeowners or occupants had a poor sense of smell, or maybe there were no carbon monoxide detectors installed. And in my opinion, people discount carbon monoxide detectors too easily and too often. Uh, as long as a house has gas in it, whether that is natural gas or propane, this could be a concern, is and I would absolutely recommend some type of detector installed, because you never know. Um, there's always that chance for malfunction. And don't get me wrong, all energy sources have associated risks with them. That is just going to be the nature of the beast. Manufacturers of modern electrical appliances or systems have really taken steps to reduce the risks in their devices. Uh, they now have safety features like surge protectors, circuit breakers, or fuses that are built in, or automatic shutoffs. I mean, that's huge. Uh, just the one that comes to mind for me is uh, for for years we had a coffee maker that didn't have an electric shutoff, and one of us would always forget to turn off the coffee maker. And now our coffee maker has a built-in shutoff. I think it's like a 2-hour timer on it, and that's just one of those nice safety features to have. Now, natural gas appliances do have safety features that isn't going to eliminate the potential hazards 100%. Uh, Oftentimes, there are some type of naked flame that could lead to kitchen fires, burns, or furnace, water heater issues as well. And leaks can lead to indoor air pollution, as I mentioned earlier. Again, worst case, explosions. So if you have a a gas stove, for example, that you have that pilot light that goes out, gas can leak into the house. So you just have to know what you're getting into with whatever type of appliance that you have, and just be as safe as you can with it. Number two is better indoor air quality, because gas powered appliances do leave traces of nitrogen dioxide, carbon monoxide, like I mentioned, and carbon dioxide. And these are all going to be poisonous gases that can affect the health of anybody that is living in the home. And as a quick reminder, all of these gases are odorless, tasteless, and invisible. So they are extremely hard to detect, which is why I feel like carbon monoxide monitors and sensors are just discounted by people too often. And what happens over time is these can accumulate in the air, make their way into your lungs, and make you sick, or potentially even kill you if um, you don't wake up, or an alarm or one of the detectors don't go off. Now, you can reduce this potential exposure with cleaner alternatives like electricity, um, and ventilation also helps improve air quality as well. So if you have some type of ventilation, or a cleaner alternative such as electricity, in this case that we're talking about, those are a couple ways as well. Number three on the list, smart features. Now, this is something that is relatively new within the last probably 10, maybe even 15 years. but oftentimes electric appliances do make our life easier because of the smart features that they offer. Just look at the technology advancement that we've had, like I mentioned, over the past few years, and how it's been integrated into our everyday life. We've talked about on the podcast before smart thermostats and uh, apps that you can control them just from your phone or smart devices. And these apps allow you to control or make changes remotely, maybe for your entire household. If you have it set up, maybe you can do it by each room. There's some now that even allow you to turn on and off your washing machine and run a cycle. That's crazy. I'd not realized that until I started doing some research. And these overall just make your life a little more comfortable and a little easier. Number 4 is quieter appliances. If you're like me and you either work from home or enjoy quiet time in your home, you are definitely going to appreciate this feature. With modern designs for electric appliances, they're relatively quiet. Some are pretty close to being noiseless altogether. So you're almost in complete silence at home, except for you may hear a slight hum of your HVAC running, whether it's the heater or AC just moving air through the vents. There are even some appliances now that are going to be mobile or portable, such as space heaters, window units, something like that. All you have to do is find an outlet, plug it in, and enjoy the heat or the cool without the the chance of harmful fumes. Number 5 is a safer environment. And I don't have to remind you about greenhouse gases or global warming. You can turn on any news channel, any social media post, and they are just going to continue to pound that to somebody. If that is a concern to you, you want to do your part to reduce those emissions. Electric homes are going to be safer and better for the environment because they they give off fewer carbon emissions and don't burn as many fossil fuels in order to produce it. Uh, often electricity is now consumed from or created from renewable resources like solar, wind. Around here, we have a combination of the two, especially wind farms. I think we have 3 or 4 within probably 50 miles of where I live. And that's just more and more common because Kansas is windy. We have an abundance of wind and that can help. So there's that option. Also, now what you're seeing as far as homes go, you can combine your electric infrastructure in your home with solar power, and that can help reduce or eliminate your monthly electric bill. And finally, number 6 is going to be cost effectiveness. Typically, upfront costs for electrical appliances are cheaper. You really only need an outlet to power the appliance. And let's face it, how many homes don't have outlets, or you can't install an outlet relatively cheaply. And that's all it takes. It's kind of plug and play, pretty simple. You can even retrofit your house from gas to electric, which is going to be cheaper than if you were trying to retrofit it from electric to gas. And electrical systems over time are going to save homeowners money in the long run compared to gas. Excuse me. So having said all of that, those are the top six reasons to consider an all electric home. Since we talked about the benefits and the pros, of course there are cons with every topic. The two biggest ones that are going to stand out in my mind for an all electric home is, the first one is going to be the dependence on the state or the federal national grid. All electric homes are dependent on the infrastructure, on the state infrastructure for their power supply to keep coming in. These can fail at any time, most often because of natural disasters, which lead to power outages. Here in Tornado Alley, we get this quite a few times, running from May through September. While some of us do have backup generators, which is great, don't get me wrong, backup generators do have their place and are very handy, but not all of them are designed to power your HVAC system, power your fridge, maybe a stove, a microwave, your freezer. Not all of them are going to be able or designed to handle all of that load. So you have to pick and choose. And the second con that really jumps out at me is going to be the higher running costs, because again, this is going to depend on where you live, but for the most part, we've talked about all electric being cheaper in upfront costs and over time. That's not true for everyone, and it's not true everywhere. For example, people living on either coast may pay more for electricity than somebody living in the Midwest. On the other end of that spectrum, there are areas in the US that are far from a national or state grid to get their power, and they may only have access to some type of gas. So these locations are going to pay less for gas than they would electricity. So those are just a couple things to think about as well. Ultimately, it's going to come down to your preference, availability, and cost. When considering an all electric home, there's three questions. We covered them at the beginning, but there's three questions that you need to ask yourself and take into account. What are your energy needs? What is the size of your home? And what is your energy budget? For example, my home is a combination of electric and natural gas. For me, I just feel like that is a better way to go, because for my appliances and my AC unit are electric, my heat and water heater are gas. Just because if I happen to lose power, I could still run my furnace to a certain extent, and I'm still going to have access to hot water. So that's it. Those are the top 6 reasons to consider an all electric home. I would love to know what you guys have where you live. Are you all electric? Do you have a combination, or do you have renewable like solar or wind? I would love to know, hear your setup, and see what you guys have. Also, don't forget that the question of the week form is in the details section below. Make sure you keep those questions coming. I greatly appreciate it. I know all the listeners of the podcast appreciate it as well. And if I could ask one favor from you, it would be leave a review. Whatever podcast player you are tuning in, whether it's iTunes or Spotify, please leave a review. That's not only going to help me, it's going to get in front of more people, and I'm going to be able to help and answer their questions as well. So thank you guys for tuning in. I greatly appreciate it. That is going to wrap up episode number 267. I'm your host, Matt Johnson with Keller Williams Diamond Partners. I do this because your experience matters and should be trusted with a veteran. Y'all have a phenomenal day. I'll see you next week.